I'm just still this wounded human, and this is my fingerprint on life at this moment in time.
What does writer's voice mean to you?
Writer's voice, that it takes, I guess, a long time to hone the voice. I found something interesting. I can't remember who said this in stand-up comedy, but they said when you do your first open mic night and you totally bomb, that's kind of your true voice. And then it takes about 7 years to get to craft and then to get back to that authentic voice. So there's something about the true authentic voice I think is almost maybe the child within us that kind of wants to come out and tell these stories, and we get scared that these stories could be shameful, or we have to go through all these different things of putting things on a page, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, there's a through line. And even my therapist, she says, if you really read like all the books or you watch all the films on certain people, you can kind of vibe what their trauma was, like what they're dealing with. And I try to, oh yeah, no, I'm working on this completely different thing. And then by the time I get to the end of it and I've been authentic with my voice, I get really mad because I'm like, oh, my therapist is right. This is about love. I hate myself for this. So.
Wow, that's interesting. So then for the first, if you took instead of a stand-up comic, a writer,
yeah,
then even if then people say, oh, you need to change this or whatever, that was really their original voice when they started.
Well, it's something that you need to come back to. As we talk about this, I remember 25 years ago writing some of my first short stories, which were just, I was trying to be transgressive, and I was trying to be something, but I was also kind of shouting to the world in a way to almost offend. I was very into trying to offend and to try to make a mark. So when I did like my open mic storytelling or whatever, I was there to shake the room up. And there just comes a point where it's just like, no, just tell a good story, man. But the original impulse was a little more, I think it was a little more just me trying to use a certain type of aggression to pretend like I know what I'm doing, and then later on, the old voice comes back, and you're like, oh no, I'm just still this wounded human, and this is my fingerprint on life at this moment in time, with my experiences and where I've come from and everything I've done, and just let that wounded human find the way to say what they need to say through story and through telling stories.
What's the famous quote? To disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. I don't know who said it, but yeah, it's a great quote.
Yeah.
And that might be part of all to the DIY sort of punk aesthetic.
Right.
Of that time was very much that.
Which is just hilarious, when you look back. And I love going down the YouTube rabbit hole of like seeing when the Sex Pistols came to America, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're out here because we need something different, and they're all dressed exactly the same. It's like, I just look at that endearing now. Those guys used to scare me, and now I'm like, oh, cute kids.
Right. But at that time, and sort of this MTV sort of, that was part of how it was, and so but yeah, underneath that is something, and maybe that's where the real voice is. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't even maybe there is no way to find the real voice, but I guess to try to get as close to it as possible is getting close to what we care about. And I feel like my themes that I kind of care about are kind of just like, why are we gonna die? That tends to be my question, and it tends to show up a lot in my writing, and at the same time I give fictional versions for it to explain it, even though I know that's not what really would happen, say, in my speculative fiction where I write about the afterlife. But it's fun to play with that and go, whoa, what if this is the afterlife? It's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny.
Sure. Or what happens when certain parts of us die and we're still living? parts of our personality or
that, yeah.
a persona that we thought we were or whatever it was.
And there's that quote that talks about like, oh yeah, he died at 27, but we buried him at 94, where people just kind of, they just go into their, this is what I'm going to do. And it's a self-protect mode that is, you know, look back and go, is that a life well lived or not? And I feel like as writers, if we're doing our work, I feel like that's a life well lived, or maybe I'm telling myself that to keep me going. But I feel like, you know, even this show, that's what you both give to the world. That's a life well lived, because it's bringing together people who are very interested in the process of writing, and that's why I'm always recommending your channel to my students and everything, because it's there, and it blows their mind. They're just kind of like, this is all for free? And it's just like, yeah, you can just watch it and you can learn everything you need to learn by who you guys interview.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm sure too, I mean, we get a lot from it. Just with Drinks with Tony, you probably get so much too from your guests that keeps you going and grounded.
Yeah, I love it. And there's some guests that I would be like, I am so glad I never have to talk to that person again. And then there's some guests, I'm like, I really want to be your friend. Can I have, you know, the next, there's one author, Lee Goodkind, who started Creative Nonfiction magazine, and he's in his 80s, he lives in Pittsburgh, and I'm like, next time I come to New York, I'm having lunch with you. Can I fly to Pittsburgh for like the day and have a lunch with you? And he's like, yeah, of course. And I'm just like, I can't, I'm excited. I used to be excited to go see The Cure live. Now I'm excited to go have lunch with an author in a,
right.
a faraway city.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to have lunch with Robert Smith, so yeah.
I would rather have lunch with Lee Goodkind. Yeah, I mean, I do love Robert Smith, but I think I would have a lot more to talk about with Lee.
Okay. How do you work with writers on their voice, the people in your classes? And I know you have some UCLA Extension classes coming up, which is great.
Part of it is trying to stay out of their way, and then part of it is to get in there and kind of poke them a little bit. I had a writer once many years ago, and she went off and had a 2-book, 6-figure deal and all, and it's so great to see all of that happen. But one of her character, her protagonist, was a young 12-year-old girl, but the mom wasn't being fleshed out, and she was also a mom, and I really made her, I was like, write the mom, you have to dive into the mom's story and the mom wound in order for us to understand the kid. So that was a little nudge. I don't know if that's a voice nudge or if that's a nudge. Maybe that is a voice nudge because she related too much to the mom, where it was just like, no, get into the shadow self, get into the horrific thoughts that we all have sometimes, and then pull back.
You said that sometimes you poke the student a little bit in terms of their story, and then other times you stay out of their way. And I find that interesting. Can we explore that more? What does that mean?
It's I feel like after years and years of reading student work every day and then reading work all the time, because I'm always reading a novel, I'm always taking in writing, something just kind of clicked where I kind of know when a person isn't going all the way with it or is holding back. And it's so hard for me to explain. And it finally clicked when people say, even about screenplays, where they're like, oh, I know on the first page or the second page if it's a go or not. And it's just like, I do now. But I can't explain why exactly, because it could have everything in place, but there's just, you feel it. It's a feeling where you go, it's just not, they're not there yet. It's not, this doesn't work. Or and even on novels, where I try to give novels grace of about 20 pages, but after 20 pages, sometimes it's just taste, but other times it's like, oh, this you could kind of tell the person's either trying to be safe or trying to be too transgressive and like really stick it at you, which is where I went in my early days. So and then also, I guess a lot of that's vibing the personality and also vibing the story, because some of these stories that my students come up with are pretty intense.
When you were writing, do you think about voice, or do you just write? I mean, you talked about how being transgressive before, and you kind of really wanted to shock people.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't think about. So especially on first drafts or even on second drafts, I'm not thinking about voice. I'm thinking about getting all of this on the page. I guess there's a certain point, and I guess this is 25 years of putting in a lot of daily work and then some gaps in that, but where I know my voice, I know where I can go, I know what I'm not good at. If you said, hey, here's $1 million, write a political drama, I'd be like, okay, great, and then I'd pay someone $750,000 to write it for me because I just don't know that world, and so but it's. But I also know that I can't serve that world. I guess that's where the key is. So what are the themes that I can serve? I kind of know, so I just dive into that, and then I dive into it completely scared, and it's a freezing cold pool that I didn't dip my toe in, and just go at it. So.
And have you seen different genres, like maybe a romantic comedy? I don't know if that would be your thing to watch on a Saturday night, but where the voice was a certain way that didn't matter what, it was light and candy coated, but there's something authentic about the voice.
I love certain romantic comedies. One of my favorite romantic comedies is a Meg Ryan movie called French Kiss.
Okay.
And I adore that film, and I adore it, I think, because her journey is such a beautiful message to go with your heart, but she is fighting not going with her heart. She's fighting to be among the status quo and to just get married and get the house, and she's scared of it, and she's scared of flying, and she can't even get to Paris, but her fiance is cheating on her in Paris. So the whole act 2 is her finally getting on a plane to go to Paris to get her fiance back, to bring back what she had in life. But she had to get on that plane and go to Paris to learn about who she was and what she really needed. And I just got chills saying that. The movie is hard to find on streaming. I don't know why. There must be some like copyright issues here and there. But I got the DVD, and I watch that maybe once a year, and just so I could smile. And on my Saturday night, as I'm eating my bonbons and wishing I had a cat that I could just sit there and.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.